And welcome here to Frosty Saturday here today at the races with Keith Fustel. Friday's card, pretty chalky for the most part.
Yeah.
We did have a $40 winner and debit card in the feature yesterday. But let's go ahead. Let's move forward and turn the page and take a look at what we've got going on that track yesterday. Keith, any biases on the track?
Well, yesterday, we saw the track change a little bit. It looks like some materials were added to the surface. It's a little bit, I don't know how I call it, not dusty, but anyhow, you just kind of, it looked different. That winterization kind of maybe taking effect. A little bit wide, a little bit closey, lean maybe when you kind of really look at the whole scope of the races. You did see a couple horses down inside. Brazina early, I kind of got it done. But, debit card was really kind of the big upsetter yesterday. And we were talking just before the show. Did I use it? Well, the horse was right there in our pick. So, again, I hope you had a deuce to win, a deuce to place. I hammered an exact the Prince of Jericho over debit card. But hey, he beat me. And congrats, Flint Stites and company for that win. But sustain that 5 to 6 wide move. But, we're back at it today. 9 races on the Saturday card. Stakes. The 2-year-old boys, the girls. So looking forward to that later in the card. And I do think we're going to have a little bit more value.
I agree. Still brain scratching as it was yesterday, but I think today's going to turn up a couple more prices. And let's take a look. Let's dive in, shall we? Let's start with the early pick 5 in this claiming 12-5 for the girls 3 and up, which have never won 3. Going a mile and 16th on the dirt. Keith, you have the number 8 on top on the outside. And Gun Runnin' Gal. Love this at a little bit of a value of 5 to 1. Claudio Gonzalez, Angel Cruz.
And the word I was looking for to describe the track, a little bit powdery,
Powdery, there we go.
Yeah, just got to wake the brain up a little bit on this Saturday morning. But no,
powdery
you've
makes
got
me think of snow too.
Sadie the Grey going to be awfully short price. We got a video of that one in a second. But Gun Running Gal, go ahead and run it because she comes out of the same race. This was November the 29th over a muddy sealed surface. If we can go to that video, Sadie the Grey going to be very, very short in here, probably even money. Gun Running Gal bobbled a little bit early, and I thought was just kind of sent a little too hard for her liking into that flow. It was pretty quick when it was all said and done. Sadie the Great was keen down on the inside. There's the 6 in the red cap. That's Gun Running Gal that day. Sadie the Great will concentrate on as well because I thought after delivering those quicker early internals, took the pressure around the turn into the stretch, held quite well. Comment stubbornly. Not giving up too much ground. And you see the outer horses kind of doing the best. Peppermint Class, I'm a Cutie Pie, but we're right back kind of quick for both of these. Just offering a little bit more value. Gun Running Gal, the way the track played, maybe this outer post won't be that much of a hindrance. She can settle a little bit further back and try to make a steady progression. She has won at the 2 turns. Sadie the Great. I think the road's going to go through her at the top of the stretch. Bucking Lucky, interesting here for Gonzalez. Got Andy Hernandez now riding. Past 3 years, fillies and mares on the dirt, making this move from the allowance to claiming. He's been really good. 241 ROI. Percentage 30%. 9 for 30. Interesting. A little bit dull last couple, but she has some speed when she's right. She can beat these. I'll toss in the 2 Flinty 10-10. Had a little bit of a hiccup last time after running 2 improved races.
Absolutely. 8, 3, 6, 2. I originally had the 8 as my top selection as well. Gun Running Gal for Keith Fusel there in the first leg of the early pick 5. We go to the first leg of the early pick 4. You'll have a treat later for us today, Keith. It does begin in this claiming 7,500 for the girls, 3 and up, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. No scratches here. Keith, you go with the number 3 again here in Loving Cup for Hugh McMahon. Jean Brasino gets the call at 3 to 1.
Yeah, Loving Cup. I mean, you look back, her best race was off a similar type of layoff. She's off 113 days today. She was off a little bit more last time from December to April of 24. Look at that run beating, it was a key race. Northern Glow came back to win. Atlas Strong. A couple other horses ran very big next time out. Goes turf to dirt off the freshening. Speed is going to come from Ashley's Ring, but I think fresh, Brasino, McMahon, good ROI, jockey trainer combination at 7/8. I think this is a good distance at this level for her. I think she can stalk and move into it. Maybe get the jump on the 4. Bad Temper. I think she's going to make a run. Didn't really like Charlestown. Excuse lost all chance went into that big field on Maryland Million Day, was bottled up inside. You see that steadied into the turn. She'll come back, run a little bit better. There's a little angle here for Gina Perry. Last 2 years on the dirt, 3 for 7, 4 for 7 in the money, third off of this type of layoff with an ROI $9.31. Bad Temper going to need a little help up front. She's a little bit of a deeper closer, but she likes this distance. 3 for 8 at the 7 furlongs. I think Ashley Swing, we talked about, going to be the speed of the speed maybe, but off a little time. Let's see if she can kind of get the 7/8. And Mosler's Image, interesting for me. First time for this barn. We saw him strike with Sugar Steve. What a race he ran yesterday.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Mosler's Image, 7/8. She was up kind of closer to the leaders off the turf races at Tampa. I don't think she's quite got the speed of some of these, but certainly might roll in from off the pace. Coal Mine, my big question mark. I had her on and off the ticket. She'll be underneath in Exactas. Key around a little price here. Loving Cup and maybe Bad Temper. They're not going to be big prices.
Why not? 3, 4, 7, 8 in race number 2, starting off that early pick 4. And we go to race number 3, and it is a maiden claiming 30,000, going 1 mile and 16th for these 2-year-old fillies. Scratching the number 7, Chattalati Spring. You and I both land on the number 2, Feistiness for Jamie Ness and Jamie Rodriguez. And, of course, you give stats out all the time like they're playing cards, but here's an official one here with Jamie Ness.
Well, we just kind of offer them. I mean, you kind of got to take them into consideration when they're positive. This one is not the biggest ROI. And you've got a horse that might slip away. Ness with 4 winners yesterday, back on its game. 6 for 17 is Ness. 35%. 2-year-old maiden sprint the route over the last few years on the dirt. The number, 19 Buyer, just doesn't jump out at you. Didn't really get play at 14-1, but he protects this filly. Moves her up in class, in for the 37.5, the Maryland bred claiming price. And you're looking at the family. Bossiness, Little Lance, horses that have performed well going a distance of ground. Was climbing a little bit on that track up at Parks, was floated out, bothered nearing the half-mile marker, dropped down to work between. I thought finished up okay the last 1/8 of a mile. That's finish time isn't anything special. The stat is special. The percentage is special. The breeding is there to go long, and looking just for a little bit better price at a 9-2 because Damon's horse, the 5, Nancy Mary here for Dilla DeVico, will take a slew of play. 7-5 morning line will come down probably further off of that because of the scratch video spotlight horse. And talk about a filly who really hasn't had a fair chance at a race. She's kind of had trouble and not comfortable trips her first 3. And, again, she's bottled up in between horses a long way here. Up about a length and a half off the lead. Just look at this. Back 2 1/4, drops back a little bit, fades, works outward stretch. Yes, loses about a length and a half the final 1/8 of a mile. But the willingness is there. By Wicked Strong, they can get you a horse to win at a route of ground. She's been involved in some races with some very honest flows. Flow should be comfortable. Question is the 2 turns, but I like how the 2 7/8 race under her belt so far in this 3-race career. She's certainly the horse to beat in race 3.
2-5, 3-1 for Keith Fusel there in race number 3. We're going to go ahead to race number 4. Starts the Rainbow Pick 6. We also have, of course, that starts in race number 4. We also have my ticket that just taking a peek at that really quick. I believe it's a $24 ticket. And single in race number 5 on the number 1. They're in that, I believe it's a maiden race. We'll get to that in a moment, but 5 deep in race number 7 in that Maryland Juvenile Lassie. I just think it's so competitive there, just like the Maryland Juvenile as well. These are some top-notch juvenile races, aren't they, for today?
They're quality. Maryland bred, Maryland side races. We like to show off the product. You've got it this afternoon. I'm looking for maybe a son-father double in those races. We'll get to that in a little bit. But, yeah, race 4 at 6 furlongs, this starter. This is an interesting race. Let's go right to the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Talk about a racehorse. It's been a while since he's been around. Toledo was also named on a horse. He goes here to the Wolfman, and this is a horse who's run well off of layoffs in the past. We're going to go to its most recent race and runs quite well. Fine Faith, the Wolfman, Great Heavens, just chasing every step of the way. Fine Faith just a little too good. This guy's off the break, back in for a tag. Interesting. Laying him in there for 12.5. There is some other speed in here. But, man, just maybe the tell of Toledo. He's got to come out cleanly because there is some speed. There's going to be some rapid flow going on, icing outside. The Bullion Bomber, pit stop man is fresh, can get involved. He's going to have to be into it. Even Kate's Golden Dude might take advantage of the way that track played. If it holds today like it did yesterday, there's a horse, the 11, your top selection. There you go. Might want to throw into your exactest tries and supers. But the Wolfman, he's a man. And I just think he's coming back, ready to rock and roll. Let's get to the front. And he can dog you a long way at 6 furlongs.
He can. I'm just curious to see if the 11's just going to edge him out there right at the end, because he's just as gritty as well if he needs to be.
Yep.
But I mean, I get it. The Wolfman, I think the race is going to run right through him. Talk about Cajun Dream on the inside for Hugh McMahon, and Forrest Boyce cutting back in distance here today.
Yeah, the Wolfman, I mean, if he runs, I don't want to say all or nothing, because you're right. This race is close, and he's going to have to bring at least a B-plus effort.
Right.
I hope we're not asking too much of this guy, but man, what's he,
Shangle won a race
for
yesterday,
17?
so let's just keep the momentum going.
Back at it. But Cajun Dream, going and looking for maybe a little value underneath 6-1 on the morning line. I like that price. And Cajun Dream, the last 2 races, the form is dirtied up a touch.
Yeah.
Going back to 6 furlongs. The last time this one sprinted at Laurel, going 3/4, got that set up. You're going to get some speed in front today. You got the right kind of rider for us, boys. Right behind Sugar Steve, we ran like an 87 yesterday, a key kind of horse. Cajun Dream, I think, is really going to like the setup. You've got to talk about collaborate a little bit. Another one that wants to close in has been hampered by wide trips. Corrales, last 3 years on the dirt, 29%. Second off the claim, 270 ROI. So I go 4-1-2-5. Pit Stop Man is fresh. Doesn't quite have the speed that he used to have, but maybe freshened up a little bit, can like close enough and fight it out. It's a highly competitive race for it's a race you may want to spread around in your multi-race wagers.
Agreed, you should. As we go ahead to race number 5, and this maiden claiming 12-5, going 5.5 on the dirt for the girls. 3, 4, and 5 also starts, of course, that late pick 5 low industry takeout. Scratching the 2 Sweet Honeybee. Keith, you go with the number 1 on top, and same as me, La Chica for Tequila, Jim Gracino. Okay. It's a bit short of a turnaround for me, but you can't deny this horse at this distance.
Yeah, back in the 5.5, the second time blinkers, I thought she'd lay a little bit closer going longer. She was just 5, 6 out of it early, just never got on track, but has targets today. Some of the speed does come out with Sweet Honeybee just to the outside, and I was hoping she was in there.
She's my
to
top
kind of let her
selection.
draft inside to carry her to a position maybe into and around the turn. So we're going to need a little bit of help up front, but I think we'll be a little bit sharper here on the turn back. Targets of speed. You've got Bonds Bell, My Sassy Valentine. They're going to be into it along with Paperback Edition. We ran a real gritty race last time, coming back on through the final 1/8 of a mile. Not a whole lot you can trust in here. You've got My Sassy Valentine going turf to dirt, second off the claim. Very tough to separate both of these Frocks horses. They're going to be into it a long, long way. But a slight lean, slightest of leans, because I think you're going to get an okay price for La Chica for Tequila to rally into it.
Right, absolutely. 1-6-7-9 there for race number 5, and we will be right back after this commercial break for race number 6 and onward. We get back into action with that jackpot super high 5, and we've got a carryover, Keith. That's going to hit 10 grand by the time we get to race number 6, post time 2:43, and it also starts your late pick 4, Keith. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what you got going for us with this ticket. Okay, here we go.
Hit you right smack dab in the nose there. 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11. Yeah. That's 6 of them. I find this race awfully difficult. We'll talk about a value horse here in a second. Race 7, 1 and 4, trim it down, Ms. Notion. Only one race under her belt, but man, was it good. Let's see if she can bring it back, stretching out a little bit, along with Caprice. Race 8, there's your single.
Love.
Sacred Thunder for Gary Cap. And wrap it up. Race 9. 3 and 6, Something Wonderful to Go, Hot Route to Stalk and Maybe Pounce, or some other pressure horses that might bring some pressure to my speed choice in the 6. But That's it, $12.
That's
Not too expensive.
Yeah, it's a good ticket, always something to build off of, and if you want to go wider on those stake races. But I love, yeah, that's fun sequence that you've got there, and it does begin here in race number 6, as I mentioned. Also, the beginning and the end of the jackpot super high 5 in this allowance for the girls 3 and up, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Scratches in the 1, 4, and 7. Keith, you have the number 3 on top. Diamonds, if you do, for Liz Merriman. Tori Alba gets the call.
Just knowing your background and family a little bit, I would have thought this was your top selection.
I had to.
How do you not have this? Huh?
I had it. I mean, the horse is getting on my selections, no question about that.
No, we're taking a little shot here with Diamonds in if you do, but first time for the trainer, Elizabeth Merriman. And that stat kind of sticks out off the smaller sample, 5 for 12, 42% the last few years. A good ROI. And with the dirt horses as well, it's been okay. 2 for 4, 3 for 4. This horse was well meant, took a lot of play for Motion, who's not a real big debut bet down kind of guy.
Right.
And doesn't win, not a slew. This horse, I mean, going back to 2 years old, though. There was a big field and just missed at Keeneland. Third place finisher has come back. It's been a little while, but it's placed in a couple graded races. Other than that, the field maybe wasn't the strongest down at Keeneland that day. But the freshening, some of pretty much the main speeds come out. So you got Peridot Pendant, Stick with the Colors. They were going to be the flow in here.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody was as quick as Salzman's horse. We'll wait for another day for that one. But Diamonds, if you do, some steady works leading into this. Tori Alba had his choice. He was named on 3 on the overnight.
Yes, he was.
Including horse Next Girl, who I thought was in very good form for Robbie. Goes here. Just maybe a little bit of a tell. There's your shot and story on Diamonds if you do.
I love that as a top selection, truly. It was hard for me to – again, you went 6 wide in this race, and again with my picks I go similar. I gave out 8 picks in my email in case I'm like hoping for some scratch. It's just the way the race is. So absolutely, this could be a really well earned value on top there with Diamonds if you do.
I was hoping some of these other horses would have stayed in. They weren't the biggest of prices, but looking at how things might have set up,
changes it up.
Could have maybe relaxed a little bit more early to go ahead and make a run for the 3. The 5, your top selection, agreed. She just might be rolling along really, really good right now.
Right.
She might just be all full of herself, right? But she got away with it pretty easy in a field that lacked a lot of speed. She controlled it 23-4, picked it up 47 and 1. 83 buyer, which just kind of stands out. But you go back, she has the ability to sit if needed. She just might be that sharp right now, and Vargas could have her right into the race by the time they head to the far turn. And she has that stamina build up to stay the trip. Obey, Video Spotlight horse, another one just kind of searching for a little bit of price. You've got J-Rod at an okay number, might be in that 8-10 to 1 range. Did not like the 1-turn mile last time. Move kind of fizzled. But this is the 2-back trial on October the 11th. Weighted quarter to upper stretch. You see there, just very patient, biding its time with J-Rod. Wait. Bandiva Samarads. Let's work outward. He's going to go ahead and grind it out. Makes that steady progression under the powerful handling here of J-Rod to go ahead and get the lead and go clear late. 7/8, I think, is going to work. Again, looking at that race behind some quicker horses, she should be forward. Let's see if she can finish up again.
Absolutely. Wrap things up. Talk about the number 8, Be Inspired on the outside. Scrolling. Brittany Russell, Toledo, just coming back to the dirt. Pretty straightforward, right?
Debut was good. Shorter field. Had to recover from a little bit of a slow start. Went into the race, chased, kicked away. Time kind of works for me. Number, okay. I mean, for a horse that might just be bet down a little too much.
Sure.
She'll be an under for me, and she definitely could be, jump up and maybe. And she's been very good with her turf to dirt horses. Have been super, super strong. And Next Girl, I would still throw into the mix along with that first sight. You saw the spread of Rama there.
Yeah.
I'll probably go maybe 3-6.
Okay.
Top and bottom, and use those values with the other ones.
All right, you heard it from the big man Keith there in race number 6. Spreaderama there, Diamonds if you do, 15 to 1 for a bit of a value play there. Let's get into this lovely stakes action that we have going on. The Maryland Juvenile Filly Stakes is on 7 furlongs on the dirt for the straight 2-year-old filly, scratching the 3 First Pearl. Let's talk. You discussed this earlier when talking about your ticket. You go too deep in this race. Let's take a look at Ms. Notion last time out in the Soul Run and Soul Win.
Yeah, this is really, really good, and even almost like a little lost the footing slightly at the break, but recovers really quickly with Thais Liapastina, and she does a beautiful job, just a little nudge, and let's get things into rhythm, and man, they did in a big kind of way. Accelerates up towards contention going into the turn, and in this race, you've got the 5 was coming in a firster for service. You had a Brittany Russell first-time starter. But the money showed. She ended up the favorite, did Miss Notion, and she did not disappoint. And it's just kind of like workmanlike here from the quarter pole home. Goes here a little bit of a left stick, 8th pole, and striding out. You look at the family, you're thinking, is 7/8 a little bit too much of an ask? Maybe it's because it's 5.5 to 6 was the distance for the siblings. That's where they kind of thrive. But look at this stride. And I even commented after calling that race. That was the chart I did. That was an even race, number 6 that day. Just like I said, man, she was that good. She looks like she could even stretch out, and that's why. But she's got it. She's got the inside post. She's got to come away cleanly. You don't want to break a step slow, then be bottled up. I think Ms. Notion, I'm going to take a shot with her right back. That was very good. She was only 3/5 off that final time. We adjusted that. Was back. It is correct, 10-3. 3/5 off a full Irish, and that race also included Point Doom, some really fast older boys. Yeah. So we'll take a shot here. Good luck here, Phil Capuano, Thais Liapastina, Mopo race, and we talked about the story of that group and Dale Cap being there last time out. So it's good story.
So much success, a lot of expectations to be had, especially Great Notion, 19% second time out. Talk about the 4, Caprice, Cal Lynch, Jamie Rodriguez, your 9 to 5 morning line here, and it makes sense why. This one just coming stake win after stake win after stake win, and the only one this one has not won was stretching out in the Whitney Clark at Delaware.
Yeah, and she got in trouble that day. Hopped, made a run 4 wide, and stayed on. I still thought pretty valiantly to save the place that day. Looked beaten last time out in the Smart Halo. Absolutely looked beaten at $1.61. They left the 3/8 pole. J-Rod was riding, and she was just kind of spinning her wheels, and then suddenly kind of the 3/16 pole picked it up, and you saw that kind of that willingness to win, that desire. She's 4 for 5. I mean, she wants to win. I think she might be a little bit sharper second time back sprinting. That route might have dulled the speed ever so slightly. Yeah. I think she'll be more involved by the time they hit the 3/8 pole today.
Agreed.
Slight edge, and her experience over Miss Notion could be the separator here. Onyx 10, I think this horse is a horse you got to take into consideration. She got in a little trouble last time too. Not big trouble, but stalled, I guess is how you would call it, from the 5/16 to the quarter, and she dove inside and really kept on well to the wire and through the wire. An improving horse, we talked about. That's kind of how we call it. Talking about in the next race, Sacred Thunder, Gary kept getting these 2-year-olds going the right direction, and they don't seem to stop. So, yes, I like Onyx 10 in there as well.
She had the best gallop out of the 3 that were in. I include Malibu Hooch. Yeah. I know a lot of people are. She's going to be coming down from that 4 to 1, but we go different directions there. Okay. 1, 4, 2, 6 for Keith Fustel in the Maryland Juvenile fillies. Right. Let's go to the Maryland Juvenile here. Also stays at the 7 furlong distance here for these 2-year-olds. Scratch in the 5, scratch in the 9. You and I both land on Gary Capuano, Sacred Thunder, Tori Alba. Let's take a look at the James F. Lewis from that effort last time out.
Yeah, really good effort. Caught her at 4 to 1. Nice price. And got into the flow, a little bump there, top of the stretch. 3 wide. That opening quarter wasn't the fastest, but they picked things up. And he was right in there, involved, wanted to do it, gets the lead. And here's what I like. He clears off inside mid-stretch. Remarkably, he's making a good run. But you can just kind of see this horse. He knows now. I'm kicking it back in. He digs in and goes. And I think, again, needs to break a little bit well from the inside, get position. But I think he's going to just keep chugging. Whoever, when he gets a challenge, I think he's going to be right into the race by the time they turn for the home 3/16 pole, and he can kind of outlast everybody else that last furlong. Sacred Thunder right back. He's a half to Tapping Cat. This is a horse, Tapping Cat, who won a lot of races, and he was good. 7/8 further out, a mile and a 16th. So I'm not worried about this extra distance. The horse is already proven at the mile on the front end.
Yep.
Don't know if he's going to go right to the front today because Saxton's pretty quick, and Tony Eclipse probably wants to go with executive order lane.
Exactly,
close.
exactly. Let's talk about Reggie runs Rogue for Justin Nixon. You and I both land this on this one in our exact. And Michael Sanchez here, cutting back from the Laurel fraternity just back in September, comes back for the juvenile. Could be very, very solid at this specific 7 furlong distance.
Yeah, maybe not the most comfortable trip last time in a Laurel fraternity. A little fizzle late, but look who he keys up with. Studley, do right. Nixon, capable, very capable. I think this horse turning back a little bit, it's going to work. It's just this horse is – I'm looking for – I don't know what kind of price now I'm going to get Sacred Thunder. Hits Hammer Time comes out. He's going to drop probably in that 3-1, 7-2 range. You've got the help of Tony Eclipse, who's going to take play because of Brittany and Serpy's horse with that big number.
Right.
But I think there's value with Reggie Runs Rogue, and I think there's value with Barbadian Runner. I could see Saxton sending Tony Eclipse getting dogged a little bit, Flo getting contested. Barbadian Runner did not run bad 2 races back. Yes, 6 beaten 7 behind Do It for Michael. Ducked in start, inside check stretch. That horse had run. That horse had run, leaving mid-stretch, and then had a brutal trip on the turf. Stamina build up there. Just give me a little bit of a hot pace.
Yeah.
Forrest Boyce at a big number.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take it. I'll use it in there underneath, and maybe a couple bucks to win.
There we go. Let's also take a look at Tony Eclipse for Brittany and Russell and Javian Toledo back in the Nashua earlier. Big Maryland contingency. Studley Do Right also running up in New York today as well.
Yeah, and she's got another horse, Michelle, right? I guess she's still in. Was in the Demoiselle, a horse that broke its maiden first time out at Laurel Park. But, yeah, Tony Eclipse was able to kind of get to the front, stayed on that left lead, controlling. It looked home, really coming to mid-stretch. Just can't quite hold on, grudging through those last 50, 60 yards. Interesting, though. His best work has been done right up on the front. How's he going to react with Saxton possibly going and maybe 1 or 2 of these other ones if they get a little bit keyed up? And can he handle that pressure? He's got the stamina build up. Let's see if it fits his style. He might have to change things a little bit, but I trust in the one horse here, Sacred Thunder.
1-6-7-4 there in the Maryland Juvenile for Keith Fusel. Let's go ahead to our finale here today, talking about this maiden claiming 30,000, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the girls 3 to 5. You have the number 6 on top. Something wonderful. Hopefully you get something wonderful at a wonderful price there for Tony Aguirre with Jose Betancourt. Yeah,
speed, steady, quarter. Horse was kind of going backwards a little bit when that got a little tight spot, faded late. But, man, did they go fast. 22 and 4, 46 in 2. She took that heat from a 2 to 5 shot from Parks that shipped in. Ran a 68 Beyer and run a 75 Beyer prior. I think that was a service runner. She just might be the speed of the speed. Yeah, Granwell, it's hard for me to figure. The blinker's going off the claim in a race. This is an interesting, confident move for Corrales. And maybe more. But I think she's the speed of the speed. If she clears, she can relax a little bit more, take it, maybe advance it past mid-stretch, and maybe possibly hold on at that 9-2, 4-1 range. But hot route, second off of a little bit of a break, getting that furlong shortened up, will have some targets. So hot route, probably the horse to hold off your top selection. A shorter price for Brittany in the nightcap. I'll toss Meg in there. Hasn't been seen for a while, but look at the company lines. Benny, Bunny Hop, enough for me. Freshen up. You see a little different filly here off the shelf.
There we go. That's Keith Fusel, 6-3-1-7. And let's go ahead to the lightning round and dive into those picks a little bit. Keith, let's talk about your value play. Race number 6 also starts your late pick 4 and is the jackpot super high 5 as well. Diamonds, if you do, at 15-1, the number 3 with Liz Merriman and Tori Alba.
Well, we got a rider that's riding very well. He had his choice of 3 horses, goes here. This is a filly in a barn now that does great. When they transfer into this barn. They've been fine off of layoffs. You're getting first-time Lasix. There's some or second-time Lasix, but first-time Lasix start. A lot of positives here. It's been in a real long break. I don't know if this is an overwhelming first level allowance. I think if she's okay, she can make some inroads from the quarter pole home.
Absolutely. And your best bet will be falling in the Maryland Juvenile there on the number 1, Sacred Thunder for Gary Cap with Tori Alba there. 9-2 is the morning line.
This just looks like, kind of looks like a crafty vet the way he runs right now. He gets involved and he's like, okay, he's willing to fight. I think he's got the right kind of positional speed to just spy. And when Tori Alba says go, let's ramp it up, leaving the 3/8 to maybe the quarter pole. He's a stayer against this group, improving for Capuano. Sacred Thunder to 92 might come down a shade.
Yeah. Excuse me if my voice breaks it during this, but we do have a huge loss in the Maryland community. Rodney Jenkins passed away at the age of 80. And, after first, he was, born in Middleburg, Virginia. And there was Rodney's brother Larry told the Chronicle in 2011 there wasn't a horse he couldn't ride. He could change his style of riding to adjust to the horse, and he'd get the best out of all of them. And he transferred that to his racehorse training career. He first started out training steeplechase horses, but Jenkins did. Made the switch to thoroughbreds in 1991, won 941 races at 24.84 million in purse earnings from 4,654 starters. His best horse was Hillwood's Cordmaker, who was retired in 2023 at the age of 8 after winning 14 of 39 races, a million in purses. And of course, we can't talk about Rodney without talking about Ellen Charles. And, learned a lot from Rodney, even though she'd grown up around horses, hadn't grown up as far as breeding them. He was very special. He could pick out horses for her bandbox, Millionaire Cordmaker, Flash Phelps. Just it was fun. He was a good picker of horses, and probably would not have had post time. Who runs in the Cigar Mile today if I hadn't looked at horses with him? So very, very fond of him. Keith, there's so much about this man that's just incredible.
I didn't know him, but witnessed, through all these years, I've been around this game a long time in Maryland, and he just seemed like just a down-earth, classy kind of guy, and versatile and patient, and his horses always look good. Always seem, put them in the right spots. But as you talked about with Ellen Charles, the teamwork they had, and how he could spot and transition from his early career into the thoroughbred racing side of things. Really, really good. And man, with some of the horses, Cordmaker, Flash Phelps, bandbox, and I know Hammy was talking a little bit. I saw a quote from him. Talk show man and Flash Phelps going at it.
Yeah.
Named that horse Flash Phelps, I think after Rodman's one of his buddies, the disc jockey. So, but Ronnie, just the way he carried himself. You just never saw him pretty much even keel. I never saw him crazy excited or anything like. He was just kind of a poised individual, and that probably, the horses probably felt that. It's sometimes with the way trainers can deal with their horses. So just definitely a tough loss, and I know he'd had some recent health issues. It just kind of just unfortunately got a little worse, but he had a very, very productive life, productive career. Influenced a ton of people. I'm sure a slew of people on the backside that worked under him, with him, and condolences out to his family and all of his friends.
Just speaking from my personal experience, it said a lot that all of it was a very safe space for a woman to go in Rodney's barn, and his whole team were women. And to kind of delve into that Hammy Smith quote, Rodney was top shelf. I don't see where anybody could fault him for what he did as a competitor in the show ring. Carried over, first class guy. He's just been a friend. Hammy words it very well, where he says he's just been a friendly soul all his life.
Yeah.
Never heard him get mad or anything like that, like you alluded to. Low-key, just very friendly, smart guy, and a hell of a horseman. We're talking about a man who dominated the American show ring prior to training thoroughbreds over the parts of 3 decades, retiring in 1989 as the sport's winningest rider. At the age of 43, he won 2 silver medals at the 1987 Pan-American Games as a member of the U.S. team, and was inducted into the Show Jumping Hall of Fame in 1999. And he had just a natural, quoting Curtis Payne, he had one of his best friends. He had a very natural relationship with horses. It was instinct. The whole family had it. He was a very modest for all the success he had. He was a very caring and giving person as well. Just all the kind acts and attitude over the lifetime, just extremely remarkable, and it just a huge loss here in Maryland in losing Rodney Jenkins. And we will head over to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches here today.